All right, so it's Father's Day, and I have a Father's Day story, a moment that I remember. And so I was training two children, potty trained them, and I had one in diapers. Now, I potty trained my kids almost immediately because I hated changing diapers. I remember the first time my first baby, Jonathan, had a number 2 in his diaper, and I'm like, oh, look at. And then after a while, it was like, oh my goodness, you did it again? I used to have the thing where I called it the explosion. And those of you who are parents or were parents, they would just, anyhow. So I'm potty training, and I looked up on the internet. They did have internet back then. It took forever, though. And I looked up on the internet, and they said to make sure that you praised them or celebrated every time they went to potty. So I did. Part of the celebration was, yay, I don't have to change a diaper. Yay. So one day we're going to Walmart, and I have to shop for some food and things, and I'm holding Jalen, my daughter, in my arm, and she's a year and a half, maybe. And I'm holding Justin's hand, and Jonathan's falling behind us, and Jalen is still on the bottle or something. I can't remember how old she really was. She spit up all over my shirt. We just walked in. So we go to the men's room. Yes, I took Jalen's to the men's room. If you're a single dad, that's what you do. And I'm cleaning off my shirt and doing all that, and still trying to hold Justin, because Justin was a runner, and he would escape. He was an escape artist. And all of a sudden, the toilet flushes. You know, there's somebody else there. And as soon as the toilet flushes, Jonathan goes, Dad, he was a good boy, Dad. He was a good boy. I'm like, okay, let's get out of here. So I must have done my job. For years, I thought my name was No-No. I'm serious. It wasn't till kindergarten. They were going over the roll, and they holler out my name, but I didn't know it was my name. And finally they said, aren't you Michael? No, I'm No-No. What made me think that? Well, it was this. All I ever heard was, No, what are you doing? No, get down from there. No, don't touch that. So for a long time, I thought my name was No. There we go. That's my joke for the day. There's a dad jokes support group. They meet on Tuesday nights. If you, no, that's a joke too. All right, Father's Day. I did not know this, so I'm going to read it to you. How Father's Day started. There's one remarkable statement in here that I want us to look at after I read it. But William Jackson Smart, he was a father. And while this great dad is a little less well known, we promise he deserves the title of a great dad. A Civil War veteran, William Jackson Smart was the father of 5 children with his first wife and 6 children with his second wife, who also had 3 children. So that, there was some children in the home. From her first marriage. After his wife died during the birth of their 6th child, with 9 children left in his home, Smart gladly took over the role of father and mother. In 1909, after attending a Mother's Day service, Smart's daughter, somebody help me, Sonora Smart Dodd, petitioned for a similar day to celebrate hardworking fathers like her own. In 1910, she sponsored a Father's Day celebration in Spokane, Washington. Many celebrated her idea, though it wasn't until 1972 that President Richard Nixon declared every 3rd Sunday in June as a federal holiday that would honor fathers. 6 years later, at 96 years old, Dodd passed away knowing that her father's legacy would live on in the holiday because of the devotion of his children, which led to the creation of Father's Day celebration across the country. I didn't know that's how it started. The amazing statement is the first one was in 1910. It took 62 years to make it a holiday. Wow. I tell people it's like this. Mother's Day, it's, the celebration's like this. Father's Day, we get, like this. One comedian says, Father's Day is the worst holiday in the world. How do you know? You look at the rankings, everybody ranks their favorite holidays. Guess which one comes in last every time they rank their favorite holiday? Father's Day. Let's look at some statements about fathers that I found very interesting. And then we'll get into a lesson about fathers. But I think we can learn some things from these men. Theodore Roosevelt Sr. Well, I did not know that Theodore Roosevelt was a junior, the president. I did not know that. So sometimes you learn things as you go through. President Theodore Roosevelt Jr. stated, as we grew older, he made us understand that the same standard of clean living was demanded for boys as for the girls, and what was wrong in a woman would not be right in a man. And so that's what stuck out to Theodore Roosevelt about his dad. Oscar Wilde said, the best way to make children good is to make them happy. During the early years of his marriage to Constance Lloyd, the couple collaborated on publishing children's books. So he also wrote children's books. I did not know that. Frederick Douglass. Douglass spent his early years as a slave in Maryland before escaping at the age of 20. Going on to become an active abolitionist and human rights advocate, the cruelty of his childhood no doubt influenced his view towards parenting. He had 5 children. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men, he wrote. And that is a true statement. It's easier to build children and build them strong. One of the things I always say is when I was parenting, and that phase is gone more or less, I used to say, I am not raising children. I'm raising men. I'm raising men. And that was always my philosophy, to teach them to be men, not children. We got a lot of men out there who act childish and act like children because that's how they've always been taught or treated. And so I raised men. John Stuart Mill, it remains unrecognized that to bring a child into existence without a fair prospect of being able not only to provide food for its body, but instruction and training for its mind. It's a moral crime, both against the unfortunate offspring and against society. In other words, it's not just enough to feed them. We're also supposed to instruct them and teach them. John S.C. Abbott, he wrote, we must be what we wish our children to be. They will form their character from ours. So, what you want your child to be, you need to be, he's saying. And that's a fact, that they will live what they see. They will live what they see. Not so much what they hear, but what they see. Isn't that a fact for all of us, though, really? It really is. Ralph Waldo Emerson. When it came to parenting his 4 children, he advised, be silly, be honest, be kind. That was his advice. A lot of dads like the be silly part. Yeah, dads love being silly because mom can be all the serious stuff she wants. We can be silly and playful. And I used to love taking my kids, and I'd lay flat on my back, and they would do airplane ride. And I'd hang onto their hand, and I'd be like, they'd be on top of my feet, and I'd have them up in the air, and I go, oh, here comes turbulence, and, silly stuff. Silly stuff. Horace Mann, a house without books is like a room without windows. No man has a right to bring up his children without surrounding them with books. I think even more so nowadays with the internet. Even myself, I've gotten way away from books. And if they ever drop that thing where it takes out all our electricity, the grid and all that, I still have some books I can read. But some people have gotten rid of their libraries, and it's hard to find or difficult to find a book in a home. If he has the means to buy them. And so he's saying books because of knowledge, learning, and that should be provided. John Adams, the second president of the United States and father of 6 children. These people had lots of kids. Believe his brood should uphold the same patriotic values he fought for. Children should be educated and instructed in the principles of freedom, he once said. Wow, if we could take his instructions. To be taught freedom, liberty. Benjamin Franklin once said, a house is not a home unless it contains food and fire for the mind as well as the body. To stir education, to stir free thought, to stir learning also. So Benjamin Franklin even said, it's not just enough to provide food, but also instruction. By the way, when we read all this, that seems to be the main theme of what we call a good father. They're not just there, they're involved. Many a father believes that if I'm in the home and I'm sitting there and I'm in the home and I'm home, that's it. That's enough. It's not. The raising of children should not just fall on the shoulders of a mother. You're a team. You're beyond a team. You're one flesh. And that's what we teach and that's what we try to get to. But it's a responsibility to father and mother to raise your children. God has set it up where we need both. We need all that a mother brings into the home. And we need all that a father brings into a home. That's why broken homes are so devastating to children. You will never find a true study, a true psychologist or psychiatrist. There's some fake ones out there that will say divorce never hurts the children. It's never baloney. It always hurts the children. Always. It may be justified. There may need to be a parting of the ways. But don't kid yourself if you think it does not affect or hurt the children. It does. Because they need both parents in the home raising them together. That's how God established it. That's how God wants it. And you can be a strong mother and raise your children and raise good men and good women. And that's possible. And you really got to be strong to do that. And single moms, more power to you. but you'll never be a father. Never. Single dads who are raising their children, and that happens, I know. That happens. And sometimes it's happening more lately now, that dads are getting custody of their children and raising them on their own. And I remember one time I was so frazzled about all this, and a lady at my church sat me down. She said, I remember still patting my hand, Michael, you can only be a father. You can't be a mother. I mean, that helped me, because I was all upset because I could not make a pigtail. I didn't know how to make a pigtail. How do you make pigtails? Still can't do it. Isn't that the one? Yeah, that's the one where you go like, see, my hands won't even work the right way. I can make a ponytail. And I remember being frustrated and said, you're just going to have to do a ponytail. And put it on. And she sat down and she told me I could never be a mother. I am a father, and my children need what me being a father means. And they need what a mother has. So the father needs to be involved with their children. It's the being silly. It's the being the teacher. It's the being the leader. It's the being there when they need you. When they're crying and they're hurting. I mean, if we're more involved, we won't hear every time they fall, I want mom. I've actually seen dads run when their children have fallen, and the child will get up and walk right past dad straight to mom. We need to be involved in the raising of our children. We will remember it. And those of you who were children and now fathers, do you not remember when your father was involved or not involved in your life? And that fulfillment that you have when they are, and that gap, that emptiness when they're not. If you're a grandfather now, get involved with your grandchildren. They need that. Jonathan thinks I'm boring. I might be. And I annoy him. He's not here right now. He's in the bathroom. He would shake his head. But he loves his grandpa. And so that's important also. We need to be involved. I went through Proverbs and I looked at some things in Proverbs about being a Proverbs father. When we say being involved as a father in raising your children, some of the things that Proverbs brings out to us that as a father we need to do. It's not just mom's job. I know lots of times young couples get married and the thought is as long as I'm bringing money home, or I'm paying the bills, or I'm taking care of this and I'm taking care of that, she can take care of the children. That's not how it's supposed to be. And so being involved as a Proverbs father, let's look at some things. First of all, Proverbs 1:8, my son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Proverbs 1:8. So dad, when you're involved in the home, in the raising of your children, granddad, when you're involved in the raising of your grandchildren, involved in that, be a person who teaches, instructs. Take them out and show them do they even have carburetors anymore? But what's underneath the hood of a car? Instruct them, teach them the ways of life, teach them how to treat a woman, teach them how to mow the grass. Teach them how to swim. I had a friend, his dad taught him how to swim, and I didn't like it. He kept bothering me, Dad, you need to teach me how to swim. You need to teach me how to swim. So one day he took him out to the lake and threw him in. He came back to the shore and he goes, did you swim? Well, I don't know. He goes, you got here, didn't you? And so maybe instruct a little better than that. But teach, instruct. You are the teacher of your home. Your children will be taught by the world if you don't step in and teach them. If you're not involved in their lives, they'll find somebody to show them, to instruct them, and you may or may not like what they teach them. Instruct your children. Teach them. Teach your grandchildren. Some of you may even have great-grandchildren. Teach them. Teach them. One of the things I think we do dishonor in this country a little bit is the respect for seniors and the thought of that. Other cultures have a great respect. Some cultures, grandparents live in the home and, basically they run the home. And the thought is they've been through so much in life, they kind of know what they're talking about. So grandparents, great-grandparents, be involved in instructing and teaching your children. Correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he delighteth. Proverbs 3:12. Whom you delight, who you love, who you desire, you will correct. Correction can be punishment, or it could be just instruction. Don't do that again. This is why. It could be as simple as letting them make a mistake and then telling them again why they made that mistake. But correction. Correction. If you love your children, you're involved in your children, you'll correct them. You'll show them the proper way, the proper words, the proper and morals and ethics of this life. You will teach them that. You will correct them when they disobey. I know this sounds silly, but I learned this lesson in Family Affair. Isn't that what it was called? Where the guy is a bachelor, and all of a sudden he has these 3 children he has to raise. And one of them, there's Jody and I don't know. But anyhow, the little boy didn't think their uncle, who now has them, loved him. And the question was, why? Because he never spanks me. See, this is in the 60s, by the way. He never spanks me. And so he began to act out more and do greater things to see if he would spank him. Eventually, the uncle found out from the little boy what was going on, so he spanked him, and then they hug each other, and he goes, oh, you do love me. If you love your children, you will correct them. There is none of this, let them do what they want and learn on their own. If you're a good father and they run out in the street, you're going to grab them, scold them, maybe even spank them. Stay out of the street. Stay away from that dog. Don't do this, don't do that, but you will correct them because you love them. A lot of correction usually falls on dad, but the problem is that's all the child remembers of dad. Because dad's not involved in their lives, and so dad's just the guy who spanks me. And that's not good either. Proverbs 4:3-4. For I was my father's son, tender and only beloved in the sight of my mother. That's an easy way, that's a nice way to say, I was my father's son, but I was ugly. He taught me also, and said unto me, let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments, and live. And so the father was involved in the Proverbs Father, and he's involved and creates structure in the home. These are what we do. This is our family. This is who we are. And he created structure. He had commandments, he had rules, and this is how you live in this home. When you leave here, you can create your own rules, your own structure, but here is our structure. And why is that so important? Because when they get a little older, they're going to go to a place called school. And in school, are you allowed to just get out of your seat and go wherever you want? No, because there's structure. Someday they're going to go to work. And in work, they can just come and go as they please. No, you got to be there at 8 and you get off at 4. And I expect you to take your break at 12 and you got another break there. And there is structure. They're going to get a car and they're going to drive. And it's going to say 45. And they're going to go 70, right? Because who cares? No, they're going to get a policeman behind them. He's going to write them a ticket. And they're going to have to pay that ticket or go to court because there is structure. There is government. And it's our job as a father to give them that structure. Those commandments. Those rules. Oh, I don't want to be that kind of dad. Then you're doing a disservice to your children. I just want to be the fun dad. I just want to play and have fun with my kids. And when they poop their diapers, give them to mom and say, here, this is yours. When they get all messy, give them to mom. Don't make me. I don't want to make rules. I don't want structure. And then you have a generation or two of children who do not understand what structure is. And I know this because even coaching basketball over these years, I can see a difference in kids. The first thing we got to teach them is to listen to us. We're in charge, not you. They used to come that way. They already understood authority. Because we had dads in the home who created structure, commandments, rules. Then the last one. My son, give me thine heart, and thine eyes observe my ways. Proverbs 23:26. We need fathers to be examples. Examples of how to treat women. Examples how to treat a mother. Examples how to treat your wife. Examples how to live life. Examples of what morals and ethics are. To do the right thing. Your children are constantly watching you. And they will become you. They follow you. And the bad habits that I learn, or they learn from your father, they spend the rest of their life trying to get those out. They do. Be a good example. Austin, I love it. You're here almost every Sunday bringing your kids to church. That's what we're talking about, especially as a young parent. Because they need to be in church. They need to see dad in church. They need to be in church with dad. And dad's going to make a rule. We go to church no matter what. If Iran and Israel is at war and we're all scared, guess what? We're going to be at church. Gas prices are at $7 a gallon. We're going to save money because Sunday we're going to church. There's a baseball game on and I want to see it. It doesn't matter. We're going to church. Noah has a little league team and they play on Sundays. I'm sorry, we're going to church. Noah will be late or he won't make it. Sports have become the king, by the way, of our families. We make the excuse, I got to be a good dad, I got to be a good mother, and take them to soccer or softball, and we're going to leave, and now they're on the traveling team, and we're going to be out in this area on Sunday, and we're not going to be in church because the game starts at 10 o'clock. They're going to miss that game. We're going to go to church. We're going to find out what church is in that area. We'll be in church, and when church gets out, we'll come. Well, they're going to miss a scholarship. You don't think God will not bless, or I'm sorry, this is sermon number 2, but you don't think God will not bless and honor your decision to make sure that you're teaching your children and being a good example as a mother and a father to take them to church? Yes, He will honor that, and we'll bless it. And as fathers, we should be the backbone of that and be a good example to our children and the backbone. This is how we live. We teach them how we live. We correct them when they go astray from it. We begin to give them commandments and rules of this is how we act in our home. And here, I'm going to show you, I live by the same rules. If the rule is we all do our own laundry, Dad does his laundry. If the rule is that we're at church on Sunday morning, Dad's at church on Sunday morning. If the rule is we have devotion as a family on Tuesdays at 6 o'clock, we have devotion as a family at 6 o'clock and Dad is there. Guess what? Dad is leading it. And then when the boy gets a little older, teach him to lead it. But you are the backbone, Dad, grandfather, great-grandfather. There used to be a backbone in our country. And it came from men who understood that our children are watching us. Too many, I'm not knocking this, but this is not how it's supposed to be. Too many of our children are being raised by mom. If Dad's in the house or not. The backbone, the example, the instruction, the rock is Dad, the Father. And that's our Proverbs Father. And if you as a grandparent see that Dad is lacking, step in. Or as a grandparent, great-grandparent, step in. We're talking about a little life here. You should reach a point where I don't care who I offend. My grandchild needs to know about God, and they need to know about church. They need to know. If that offends you, all right. Draw a line in the sand. Take your stand. Have a backbone. Dad. And let's see if we're not raising a better generation. We can. We can. Thank God. I'm almost done. And you know what it means when a preacher says that. We've been seeing a rise, I think it's Generation X, a rise in the spirituality of men in Generation X. They've been told all these lies for so many years, and they're beginning to see the lies crumble right before their eyes. And they're now looking for something, and so many are going back to church. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. But wouldn't it have been better if they were never away from church? We can get back there if we have men who have backbone and realize they need to be involved in their children's lives and to help mom raise their children. And you're going to have to change a diaper or two. You're going to have to clean up a mess or two. Yeah, you're going to have to watch them when mom goes shopping. because you're going to be involved in that child's life. Let us close in prayer.